Hanging speak. That is what is recorded in the history. The whole year the Kawaka just met one bearded, smelly white man. The whole year. I mean, Speak didn't have a shower. He was coming all the way from the coast. The only thing we knew yesterday, the whole Kawaka of Uganda, was that he met this one lonely, lost wife. How is that possible? How is it possible? Then they teach us in primary school. Stanley passed Karagwe, he met Manika, he went to Mbarara, he's a slave. He was only 15. But because my life was the Bible and the life of our people depended on it, I had to biology, I had to go into genetics, I had to go into mathematics to try and understand it, not only understand it, understand it, so that they can explain it to someone. I understand it because I want to stand top. So, when I'm ready to go, I don't want to leave no stone unturned and turn every stone twice.
Your ancestors in the world that you created were able, with very little knowledge, they didn't know the European, they didn't study the living nature. Shakespeare did not know about Ra. Yeah, Sandra did not go to school, try philosophy, try military strategy, try whatever. Yet in most of the time, they outfought, outfronted some of the best military genius that Europe had ever possessed. Do that at the time. If they were able to do that at the time, what about you? Who's got a phone? Who's got a fax? You don't only have a phone, you have a fax and a mobile phone.
Every 5 seconds, a child is dying of malaria in Africa. Now, to get the dose of life-saving anti-malaria is about $5. But there is no government to give anti-malaria. When somebody gets malaria, if they have no money, they get ill and die. So, the question that I was asking, and many people were asking, was, if you really want to help children, why begin with a disease that they don't have? Why not go Why not look for something that is killing them? This is Oxford, Cambridge, where you go to get this degree, where you get the first degree, which is a BA, bachelor's degree. You know, they don't believe in marriage. So they don't, you know, the only thing they can give you is a bachelor's degree. You know? So, because you can stumble on a conference like this and get shocked when a few ideas are thrown in your head. I don't believe what Nana Sekmet said. I don't believe that kind of stuff. It's okay. You know, they teach you how to critique, not to believe anything. You know, when they say, they say, what do you think about black people building their own institutions? You say, well, it has its own advantages and disadvantages. The high culture of Egyptian civilization that starts around the Nile Valley eventually ends up here in the Giza Plateau, in the pyramids of Giza, one of the highest high technical civilizations that African people put together, starting all the way from Uganda, covering present-day Sudan, and going up here in Egypt. more than 7 million years ago, a black woman stretched forth her hands under God and gave us the first human being. In the beginning was a black woman. This black woman lived at the foothills of the mountains of the moon. This black woman lived in the Iracrustan region, known in ancient time as the land of the gods. This black woman lived at the source of the Nile. This black woman lived between the two domes of the Great Rift Valley. This black woman's genes run through the genes of every human being. This black woman's DNA is the string that connects every person that walks on earth. That is why we say that let him that is worthy be worthy still, and let him that is righteous be righteous still. So behold, I come quickly. My reward is with me to give unto every man and woman for and according to his reward should be. For in the beginning was a black woman. This woman gave rise to a human. Never was a time when a black woman was not. Never will be time when black people will cease to be. Because we are eternal, my brothers and sisters.
Professor KIHURA NKUBA, welcome to TV Africa. And I think TV Africa feels honored to have the privilege of interviewing someone as, if I could say so, dynamic and prolific as you, well known in the community and increasingly so in the international Pan-African community. You are also, it seems, a nutritionist.
Yes, I am one of the leading nutritionists, and I introduced, I think, the good news of nutrition in this country. Before me, nobody thought that drinking sugar was the most dangerous thing, that the constituents of sugar, aspartame, that you put in sodas and drinks and Splenda, that these are the most lethal and most carcinogenic. I am the one who started teaching people that they should stay away from meat, cow meat and cow milk. And I would make a joke and say cow milk is very good. And I wait for a while and I say, but for a calf, I am, the one who would teach people and who teaches people that you should drink water. Water is one of the most beautiful things that you can have. Your body is about 76% water. You need to drink about 5 liters of water. And my campaign for organic food and don't fry your food and have boiled food and have a lot of vegetables has caught on. Now in Kampala you can go to places and choose food that is not fried and food that is fried. You can go to weddings and have beans and have granuts. Before me, that didn't exist. Now in Kampala, you have people like, I believe it's Dr. Sari, who used to listen to me on radio. You have a lot of, physicians, Kazire in Mbarara, medical doctors who opposed me and wrote scathing articles. Now they have picked up the mantle to rescue our people because our people are dying of diabetes, which is a disease that you get from sugar. Our people are dying of pressure, which we are not supposed to have. Our cancer institute in Mrago is packed full of people. And we don't have to die of these diseases if they just looked back at what their grandfather and their grandmother ate and how they eat it, they will live as long. Because African people lived long. Forget about this life expectation that they tell you because people expect you to die early so they can take your wealth. You need to defy them so that you live long. Stay away from sugar, stay away from processed food, stay away from sodas, stay away from alcohol, have a clean, beautiful life, drink a lot of water, eat a lot of vegetables, do not spray your food. Do not spray, with organophosphates and ambush and 2,4-D and all these things because the residues will go into the food and they'll give you a lot of trouble.
I am sure, sir, that the corporations don't like you very much.
No, the corporations didn't like me very much. They have petitioned the president, they have gone, but now most of the corporations have started looking back and saying, why can't we just adopt his message? Actually telling them to not to drink soda because it's not good, it's good. Now we can make ginger soda. Now we can do this. So the corporations have also tried to adjust because, the groundswell, the support that I have created as a result of my messages, particularly on nutrition and Pan-Africanism and self-identity and self-esteem and self-concept has been, tremendous and massive.
Well, let it continue. But I'm sure it has brought about a lot of concern for you. And there was a time, I believe, still now, that some of your followers thought you had disappeared.
Yes, there is a time when
some
of my followers thought I had disappeared. They created a lot of rumors that I had been made ambassador to Congo or ambassador to to the United States, or that the government had paid me a lot of money to keep quiet. But that was not true. It was not true. I took a step backwards to go and study.
What were you doing during this time of your
Well, I was setting up a farm. So I can learn about agriculture and help my people better, so that I can talk about farming, from my experience, from an experience of somebody who had been a farmer. I have lived away from the farm for over 25 years. I was also, preparing myself to set up a TV station because I had done my work with radio, and I wanted a television to work for television. And to get involved in teaching people from outside Uganda. So I was going all around the world, giving lectures, some of which, TV Africa has been, kind enough, to broadcast. So I'd be teaching in Harlem, I'd be teaching in Atlanta, in Brazil, in the Caribbean, in West Africa, in Europe, almost everywhere, there have been black people. I have been there to teach them.
Well, I hope you continue doing that. I personally have seen your very impressive private library. How long did it take you to build? And tell me about the kind of range of subjects that it covers.
I am addicted to two things. I'm addicted to land and I'm addicted to books. Some people have an addiction for alcohol. Some people have an addiction for cars. Some people have an addiction for shoes. My addiction is clearly books. I'm addicted to books. I have been building my library for the last 20 years or 25 years. And I am proud of my collection. I don't think it's enough. I have a library of coming now to about 30,000 books. I have read each one of them. And they are all books about black experience, about African people and African experience. Rare books you can't get in a bookshop. Rare books that you cannot get in a library anywhere. Because when you tell people, our people don't read, black people don't read. This is, in Uganda, I have met a lot of people who finish universities without even reading a single book. So my thing was to say, let me collect our total experience and put it together in one library. So if somebody wants something of significance, I say I have got the book. So whereas people are addicted to cars, books, because you can tell the greatness of a civilization by its literary correction, its literary achievement, its ability to read and to write, and its libraries and museums and things that project culture and promote it to the troposphere, that enable and infuse it, with new ideas. If you don't read, where do you get ideas from? Where do you get your exposure from? So for me, a library, you can tell a people who have reached a certain level of consciousness, a certain level of achievement by how much knowledge, how much library. Show me your library and I'll show you the level of exposure. If I come to your home and your library is just a collection of 2 books or 3 books, and then you sit there to impress me with ideas, I think I will not take you very seriously.
Tell me one of your, 2 of your most, your favorite books.
My favorite book is, of course, Sheikh Anta Diop. Is Civilization of Barbarism. Civilization of Barbarism is one of my favorite books by Sheikh Anta Diop. Civilization of Barbarism. Also, his other book, which is called Africa, the Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality. And so in this book, when he was asked, why are you doing the work that you are doing? He says, it is not a matter of searching for the Negro under the microscope. A great people have nothing to do with petty history. It is simply a matter of persuading the incredulous black reader to verify that most of the ideas used today to dissolve, to astrophize, to steal your soul were devised by your own ancestors. Diop says to become conscious of this fact is perhaps the beginning of a genuine retrieval of your own self. Diop says otherwise intellectual sterility is a general rule, and history knows I bear not what imprint of a subhuman. Diop says if you don't know Africa, the origin of humanity, if you don't know that classical studies begin with Ethiopia and Egypt, if you don't know that the first people to populate Europe were black people known as Gromordi, if you don't know that even the founders of Athens were black people, that Agamemnon, king of men, was black. If you don't know Shishane Kunta and his illustrious son Eshmunuza, Diop says if you do not know about Osiris and Isis and how the laws that were given to Moses came from the sacred temple of Seti I, and the holy city of Abydos, Diop says you are nothing other than a subhuman.
Tell me about the kind of sacrifices you have made as you developed and became a prolific Pan-African. How did it impact you?
It has been a great sacrifice. To the journey of Pan-Africanism is a great sacrifice. It is a journey of tragedy and hope. That is what General Saleh called it. He said. Because General Saleh became my student in 2000 at Mbarara, at Great Africa Radio. And he worked for my station for 2 years. And he was required to study a book, to read 2 books a day. And also, he was paid $50. And he ate 1 gonja. Now he blames me for ruining his life because he said I found a general who was trading in coffee and gold. Now he sells dodo and mukene and honey and, but he has got the satisfaction that you get when you eventually your third eye opened. So it is a journey of tragedy and hope. It's a journey where you have to travel, where you have sacrificed. Your children don't go to school because you don't have fees. Your electricity is always cut off. Your water doesn't run because sometimes if it is to go and attend a meeting or to fund an African activity, we will place it ahead of our own lives and our own children. So it's a journey that you have to undertake. Plus, I have had 3 assassination attempts on my life. One of them on the road from Masaka, where my vehicle overturned almost 18 times. So we have put great challenges. But I could die anywhere in defense of liberty. I could die anywhere in defense of my race, of my people, as long as I am working for the greatest good. One of the things that rising to the top of the pyramid or rising to where we are in terms of level of consciousness taught me or helped me overcome is to overcome fear. And that's what I need to tell you. God brought us into the world fearless. You should live your life fearless. You should not at all have fear in your heart, because it is clear in my mind there is no fear in my heart. And once you have overcome fear, once you have even overcome fear of wearing a suit, fear of wearing alligator shoes, even fear of eating in these restaurants that sell Italian food, fear of not drinking soda, that is also fear. Fear of not having a car, fear of being kicked out of your house because of the work that you are doing. Once you have stripped yourself of all the world fears, then what emerges is a being, a spiritual, strong, mind, body, spirit connected person that is whole and ready to deal.
Were you ever enticed, should I say, to giving up your Pan-Africanist ideals and join the mainstream Were you ever offered any government positions?
Oh yeah, several times. The first time I was, offered money to become the MP for Mbarara. I turned it down. And for me, it sounded silly because I said, if I am to represent African people, why don't I become a president of Sudan? Why do I really have to be an MP for a small municipality like Mbarara? Most of my political opponents in Western Uganda, they thought I was going to join politics. I remember Professor Kabwejere saying to me, if you don't want to join politics, why do people sing your praise? Because there are thousands of songs that have been composed in honor of KIHURA NKUBA. But later they realized that I was not interested in becoming an MP. Then the president offered me a job as a minister. And I said to the president that if he wanted me to be a minister, we should all work for free. Because there is a difference between a mercenary and a soldier. A soldier works for a cause, a mercenary works for money. And I remember the president calling me 3 times, saying he really wanted me to be a minister. And I said, no, not everybody can join politics. There must be people who must serve their people without expecting a political position. So I turned down being a minister. Then at one time I was offered, or I was asked to be the MD for UBC, and I was not interested. Or even New Vision, I was not interested. I didn't want to work for government because most of my supporters would then think that I was saying what I was saying or doing what I was saying or some of what I was saying so that I can get a political position. Secondly, I think I am better off working on the outside, looking in on the inside. Because in that way, if you are in cabinet, you have to be part of the cabinet collective. You have to be subject to those collective decisions. And I didn't want to do that.
Tell me, in light of all the opportunities that you have had, why did you decide to work for TV Africa?
TV Africa. TV Africa. I have been to Iran. When you wake up in a hotel, you look around, you know you are in Iran. The music is Iranian. The images are Iranian. The captions are in Arabic. It is Iran, no doubt. I've been to the Vatican. When you listen to Vatican radio, it is a pure Vatican. It is Roman. It is Italian. When you go to Germany, it is German television. And when you turn around German television, you don't expect to find somebody speaking Uganda. Most of the great nations, great institutions have great institutions that they respect. Britain has the British Museum. They know British Museum, British Parliament, which became a model for most parliaments. So Britain has British Museum. America has the Smithsonian Institute. Smithsonian that gathers, collects all experiences of world people and put it there for people in America to drink at that great well of wealth that has been generated in terms of literary wealth that has been generated all over the world. So when I saw that there was an effort for African people to have an institution that is their own, that can become the African Smithsonian Institute, that can become the African Cairo Museum, as the Cairo has been adopted now by Arabs, that can become the St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. You have all these catacombs in Rome that are full of artifacts collected all around the world in St. Peter's Basilica. Similar collections you have in the British Museum. I thought that I should become, at this time in history, give up whatever I was doing to become part of the voice and part of the collective that is putting together the TV Africa. And I hope that African people will support TV Africa, that they will come and help set up a museum, of man at TV Africa, a library of African man at TV Africa,
a cafe, some stage where people can go and watch their performance, and the choir. I hope that people, just like people die and donate their wealth to the British Museum or to the Smithsonian Institute, just like people work for an organization and they say, I am a Freemason and I must support Freemasonry, I hope that our people will come and support TV Africa. But you must have watched TV Africa yourself. Where are you?
I have certainly watched. How can the people support this cause? What would you want them to do?
Well, I want them to set up, first of all, I want them to watch TV Africa and to pass it on, to pass the knowledge and information to other people. It is the concept of each one, teach one. So that when you are listening, when you are watching, look around the house and say to other people, you need to come and be part of this process. Watch the information. Learn the information, because African people are not exposed. African people don't read. And you have noticed carefully that most of the mind-boggling, brutal information that we give, we have white presenters that present it. Some of our researchers are white people. And that tells you that, it has nothing to do with just race pride or just promoting our race alone. No, it is information and knowledge that is crucial to your existence, so that you should take it very seriously. Then you can form watching groups or discussion groups. You can support. You can come and support a presenter and enable them to travel, and you can donate to TV Africa. You can give Television Africa advertising, even if it is just a small advert, even if it's just you are a small shop, you are a hardware shop, you are a big corporation, a big organization, or you can give time, where you say, on this day I need to come. We are going to set up a Saturday school. Where children can come and learn about their history. You can come and volunteer and learn the history. You can come and volunteer, or you can donate books if you have books that are books on Pan-Africanism. Or you can give us external drives, where we store most of the information that we have, because we have so much information. So sometimes we don't even have where to store it. So there is a lot that you can do. The last thing you want to do is just sit at home and fold your hands and not support or help Television Africa. Because if you really feel that what we have done is unique, what TV Africa has done is unique. It has never been done on the African continent. No TV has been just dedicated in a bold way to the liberation of our race. And sometimes I'm sure you see, some of the people that put these things together on TV Africa, and you even shake in your own pants. That is because that's what liberation is all about. Somebody must put his head and put himself out there and make a great sacrifice. And one day you'll accept that this was tremendous, because if I had known what TV Africa teaches now, at a young age, I probably would be a Sudir. You can't sit at home and accept that other people are better than you. You can't sit there and accept that some Indian can come from India and come from Uganda and become the richest person in Uganda, supported by Ugandans. You cannot really accept that. You have to, if he is to be rich, let be another Ugandan of equal value, of equal measure, or at least of equal wealth. You cannot go to India and do the same. You cannot go to Europe and become the richest European. You can't. There was a man who owned a company called Polypek. He was from Cyprus. He was one of the richest person in England. He had even a bank called BSCIU or something, British, Commerce and whatever. That bank was shut down. His businesses was curtailed. Imagine the man who owns Harrods. He comes from Egypt, a very wealthy man, but the British government couldn't even give him citizenship. Up to today, this is somebody who owns a big institution, who has lived in England for 20 years. Muhammad Al-Fayed. The Fayed brothers own the biggest trendy shop in London called Harrods, but they couldn't even give him citizenship for that country. Now how can you accept a country that has no airline? How can you accept a country that has no railway line? How can you accept a country that doesn't make its own roads? And all the money goes to companies like God knows what is this Indian company here? You know, oh, I've forgotten. No, it is important because it takes billions, from here, yes, but some name, I'll put it on the screen, you will see the name. How can you accept that we can't build bridges? How can we have our bridge built by Aga Khan from Pakistan to come and build a dam? Here in Uganda. When you sit in the Ministry of Finance and you see all those so-called experts saying they work for the United Nations or the World Bank, how can you accept that? How can you accept to be inferior? How can you accept a position of insubordination? And yet you stand there and say you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're a black Hebrew, you're a Hindu, you're a Baptist, you're a Buddhist. How can you, when you are the one that was created in the image of God and in his likeness, why can't you say, no, this is my country. Africa is our country, and we'll take possess dot services. That was the company. Every road dot services. I went to Mushenyi, they are building a factory of bananas. Who is the contractor? Dot services. A small road dot services. It started here in 1995. And when you steal, you don't even steal from these Asians or from these Europeans or from these banks. You go and steal from your own people. You haven't even been educated enough to see that there is more to steal from Barclays or whatever than your own Minister of Finance that has, got God knows some donation or whatever. That is the thing that I'm talking about. To rise up, you African people, because this is your country, this is your inheritance, and you are the one who brought power and wealth and health to the rest of the world.
Well, we have to learn from that. We certainly have to. Now, there are some TV Africa clubs, Pan-African groups, all inspired by your Secrets Revealed program, which you show every day. And some of it is very shocking, very eye-opening. What do you have to say to these groups?
If you have set up a group, a watching group or a listening group, if you have set up a Pan-African club based on the inspiration you got from TV Africa, or based from the inspiration that you've got from being a follower or a student of KIHURA NKUBA, that is the most wonderful thing that you can do. You can then these groups, you can register them with TV Africa so that we know of your existence. We can send you books, we can send you support. Then we can link you groups together so that eventually you form a collective. Then you can start mobilizing in your community. You can start Saturday schools to teach the children. You can start, debating clubs to debate each other. You can start reading clubs. And you can also start exposure tours where you travel and meet other parts. There are people who are born in Western Uganda, have never been in Eastern Uganda. There are people who have come from Northern Uganda, have never been to Western Uganda. There are Ugandans who have never been to Kenya, or if they have been to Kenya, they've just followed the road to Nairobi and gone to Mombasa. They have never been to Turkana. They have never been to Somalia. They've never been to Ethiopia. They have never been to Tanzania. If they have been to Tanzania, they followed the road to Namanga and then to Dar es Salaam and come back. We need to understand our people. We need to understand our continent. We need sufficient exposures. We need to watch documentaries. We need to get videos and film experiences that are of interest and send them to TV Africa. Get active. Get a camera. Interview. Bring footage. We will find where to put it on Television Africa, or we will lobby so that your experience and your debates and your whatever can find their way on Television Africa. But don't sit alone. Don't watch alone. Entice other people and discuss what you have learned.
I've been watching your Secrets Reveals programs, which I find very enlightening, especially the recent ones where you talk about the secret societies such as the Skull and Bones, the Freemasonries, and so on. And in those ones, you actually identify key international political people as being members of these secret societies. Is that not a little dangerous, considering the power and might that your programs say they have?
Yes, but what am I supposed to do? I've already told you I have no fear in my heart. And Frederick Douglass, fighting his way out of slavery, he had this to say. He said, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who refrain from struggle, and yet want progress, they want the sea without the powerful roar of its mighty waters. They want the fruits without plowing the ground. They want the rain without thunder and lightning. So if there's no struggle, there's no progress. It says power concedes nothing without a demand, never will and never shall. So I have lived my life fearless, and I shall stay fearless. It is clear in my mind, there is no fear in my heart. And surely, what can they do that they haven't done already? And if you see, most of the programs that Secret Revealed shows are presented by white people. And these are not just simple white people. These are white people who have been in Congress. Congress, like Ron Paul, a congressman, still a senator. Congress people like Krauzeski, who was in the Pentagon at a higher level, a colonel. We have generals talking on these programs. We have people who like Kaiser, who have been in the stock exchange. We have people who have participated. People like Carol Quigley, who was Bill Clinton's teacher. Who wrote the book Tragedy and Hope, that you heard me use the same expression. In Tragedy and Hope, the book, Carol Quigley talks about the Knights at the Round Table, the round table set up by C.C. Rhodes, and the banksters that control the bank, and their intention is to restore the aristocracy under British rule headed by the Queen, and to subject everybody to slavery. It is in Quigley's book, page 66. Quigley was the person that Bill Clinton, when he was being inaugurated, he says, as a young boy, I had Kennedy's Core of a Nation speech. And later on, I read Carol Quigley's book, Tragedy and Hope. We are not telling you things that don't exist, no. And we show them. Television is don't tell me, show me. So most of what we show you proof, we show you evidence, and it is up to you. But I'm telling you, for me, the best poet is Mackay, Claude Mackay, and his poem. His poem says, if I am to die, if we are to die, let it not be like hogs, hunted and pinned in an inglorious place while around us back the mad and cowardly dogs, making a mockery of our cast lot. He says, if we are to die, oh kinsmen, let us surely die, so that even the monsters will defy, will be forced to honor us, though dead. Though far outnumbered, he says, let us give but one death blow. For the 1,000 blows, let us give but one death blow. Pinned to the wall, dying, but fighting back. So if I am to die, I will die in the defense of liberty. I will die in the defense of African economics, productive capability of a system to make it work for African people. I will die in the pit of politics, to organization of a system to work, make it work for us. I will die for race first. We must practice race first. That's selfish. Selfish is not bad. Polish church is for Poles only. They don't say it is selfish, call it Polish church. Roman Catholic Church is called Roman. They don't say now let's call it Universal Catholic Church. No, Roman Catholic Church. Anglican Church. There are more Anglicans in Nigeria than there are Anglicans in the whole world. What do they call it? Nigerian Anglican Church. No. Africa, for the Africans, those at home and those abroad, and Africa first. That doesn't mean you don't want any. When Jews say Jews and anti-Semite and the Holocaust, they are not saying they don't. No, they are saying we are just Jews. We just care for Jews. We just look out for the interests of Jews. We are just Americans. We care for Americans, look for the interests of Americans. Africa first, and Africa for the Africans. Africa, you first. At least say Uganda first. A Ugandan construction company makes the road. A Ugandan delivery company delivers the goods from Mombasa. A Ugandan inland port has a port that is run by Ugandans. A Ugandan organization manages a carnival. A Ugandan organization, manages, URA. A Ugandan manages research at the Bank of Uganda, manages the bank. A Ugandan budget not to go through, through the British Parliament or to go through Washington. Uganda first. In fact, to President Museveni, when you became a president, you said that Uganda couldn't even make a safety pin. And we cheered. Uganda couldn't even make a laser bread. And we cheered. Does Uganda make it now? Is it really fair that we should sit in Kololo and see a plane playing tricks when we don't make it? What is your legacy as a president? You need to begin making at least a small plane. Hamas, an organization that is not even a state, is making these planes, the spy planes that fly and take photographs and come back. Hamas. So how can you, as a nation, not go to cheer your own helicopter? How can you?
My God and my country, they say.
Well,
let's
first make it your country.
Are there any white organizations that promote any similar views
Oh yes.
to that which you,
Oh
you
yes.
uphold?
Oh yes. Most of, look at Greece. Greece is in fire. People are opposing the Anglo-American domination of Anglo-American banksters. Portugal is on fire. America is on fire. You have had all these Occupy Wall Street, Occupy Atlanta, Occupy Cleveland, Occupy New York, Occupy Washington, trying to reclaim the country. We have been showing you international trade organizations, white people, demonstrating in Quebec, demonstrating in Canada, demonstrating in America, trying to say the international trade organization is trying to colonize the whole world. You have people like Jones, Alex Jones, talking about how America has become a totalitarian state of the New World Order, and you have seen millions of programs on the New World Order, and the New World Order, the reduction of the world population by just leaving the world with only 800 million, and don't count yourself among those who will remain in that 800 million. There are millions of white people because they are also victims of this Anglo-American empire.
Professor, I have learned over the years, even as a Pan-Africanist, to judge men by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. That all men are equal in the eyes of the Creator. That being proud of my race does not undermine my belief in humanity and collective security for all, without regards to race, class, color, or creed. Can you comment on this belief system?
Well, first of all, that is something like out of Martin Luther King's. The whole thing about all men are equal, it is not absolutely true. Not all men are equal. I'm not equal to my father or to my mother. I am not the same as the president. When I'm just riding on the road, my vehicle is forced off the road because the president is passing. Why he can't create his own road, I don't understand. When a minister is going, in a car that I have bought with my taxpayers' money, they give him a right of way. I cannot now call on an army and say, go and invade this country and enforce my will. It is not true. Maybe in the eyes of the Creator. But you see, God created us and left us to manage the affairs of the earth on our own. God is not going to come and knock on your door and pay your electricity bills. If you are waiting for that to happen, Umeme will cut you off. So God is not going to come and build a school for you. He can't even build a church. No. All people practice the selfish, the I, myself, us, African people, we practice us. And everybody practices I. Now, America has done things for America as a nation. Germany has done things for Germany as a nation. Germany makes cars, Mercedes and Volkswagen. They don't say, since Britain makes Land Rovers, let us buy British Land Rovers. They have a comparative advantage. No. Portugal makes cars, Italy makes Fiat, Britain makes a car, Germany makes a car. Forget about the economics they taught you. They want their own. And that is what this singer Bill Holiday was saying, them that gods are loose, those that are not, so the Bible says. But God bless the child that has got his own. If we are just to share, why don't you share your house with all these people who are homeless? Why don't you share your food with all those who are hungry? Why do you go and save money in the bank on your own account? Why don't you say, now that I have got this excess, let me share it with everybody else? A nation is like your home. Your home needs a granary. Canada has a granary. Britain has a granary, food mountains. Where is the food mountain of Uganda? How can you be a president? How can you be a leader, a governor, God knows whatever, without even knowing that when a famine strikes, this is what my people will eat for the next 10 days? It is a shame. It is a shame. Yes, in the eyes of God, we might all be equal, but we have to prove to God that we deserve to be equal. You have to prove it as a race. You have to prove it as a nation that you deserve to sit at the table of nations and work for the forward flow, of human history. You need to write your name on the cloud of eternity, and you are not going to do that by giving contracts to build a road to other people when your people are asking you for jobs, for being contracts for a dam, so that people bring people from their own country when your people are tammacking the street, hungry and jobless.
I think that is a very profound response, my brother. Tell me, what role can TV Africa play in the development of the continent? Can institutions like COMESA use it to disseminate information to the masses?
Yes, COMESA, East African Community, African Union, every organization that considers itself working for the betterment or the promotion of Africa and African people, that works for the greatest good, should see this African example. A TV station that flows every day from its groin, from its cells, from its eyes, from its mind, from its brain, knowledge, the good news of African liberation. Africa, my Africa. Africa in me, Africa in you, Africa in us, Africa for the Africans.
Wonderful. Finally, what advice would you give our leaders to enlightening the people to be proud of their Africanness?
You ignore that to your peril. You African leaders who do not teach African people their history, their race, who do not teach them things that other enemies have done to destroy African state, to set up parallel institutions that rival you in power and authority, you ignore that to your peril. Look at what they have done. America alone has invaded over 50 nations with the support of England. Now, they come here to teach you about democracy. When Britain had its revolution in the 13th century, it took them more than 600 years to organize the first elections. 600 years. When America had its revolution in 1776, it took them more than 50 years, to organize elections. And yet, every democracy that has been set up, a genuine democracy, America has invaded, America has brought down. And if you need an example, look at Salvador Allende, who played everything by the rules. America has invaded Nicaragua. America has invaded Panama. America has invaded Laos and Cambodia and Honduras. America has invaded Chile. America had toppled governments in Congo. America toppled the government of Patrice Lumumba. America has invaded Angola. America has sabotaged the presidency of Mozambique. You ignore educating your people to your peril. Look at Saddam Hussein. Look at Mossadegh. Look at Iran. Look at, name me any country that they have not invaded. But Thomas Sankara, although he was killed, he had educated his people, and now Sankara's the Burkina Faso can't even be changed. Hear this, O African leader. Re-educate your people. When white people colonize the world, they also colonize the information about the world. You need a process of recolonizing, of mental side is the murder of the mind, genocide, the murder of the body. You need to treat that mental side. You need to remove that mental side and have a person who works for the best image and interest of African people. And I thank you very much.
I thank you very much, Professor. This has been a very enlightening and very educative and inspiring interview. I am sure the viewers of TV Africa will be even further inspired to take up some of the ideas, and I hope so also our leaders on this African continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.